All right, we are joined by Congressman Jerry Carl. Jerry, thank you so much, sir, for being with us today.
My pleasure, thank you.
And yes, taking time out of your busy day to be with us. We want to ask you first about gas prices. They're just getting worse here in Mobile. I think the average is $4.57. It's $4.69 right down the street from our station here. It's $4.79 over in Baldwin County. What are you telling folks? I mean, is there anything to say about gas prices going up? I mean, it could be above $5 soon.
You know, this administration's attack on the petroleum industry is unfounded, and we really can't understand where it's coming from. I was just out in California, in Washington State. It's $9.50 a gallon in California. And you say, well, that's not Alabama. Well, they're fueling those trucks up in California to bring stuff to Alabama, so we will pick up a portion of that. But we can't figure out what this administration's end game is. They want to buy petroleum products from Venezuela and from other countries, that are not friendly with us, but they won't allow us to drill on our own soil and become independent. So we flat just don't have an answer. We are bumfounded by this administration and where they're going with this one issue. They just don't seem to care. They don't seem to care.
Is there a push right now to allow us to drill closer to home?
Yes, we've got several bills on the floor that they will not allow them to come up for a vote, but is to encourage the administration. We've signed numerous letters encouraging the administration to open up pipelines, allowing us to drill on properties south of Mobile, for example, in the Gulf. Of course, that's natural gas. Natural gas prices have gone up almost 200%. Which doesn't affect us, we think, but in reality it does, because natural gas is what they're burning in our power plants now. But they have shut down all new leases. And that's what drives the prices of this fuel, is the future, what the industry sees where the future is going. And they see that there's no new permits being issued. They know the value of what they're pumping out today goes through the roof. So, that's what we're paying for. If the administration was to say, okay, all permits are going to be reissued, we're opening up everything, you would see prices drop in half overnight. Would change the market that fast, I believe.
And we're almost at $5. How high do you project this going, a gallon of gas?
I said we could easily see $6 a gallon by the end of this year, this fiscal year. And California's at $9.47 a gallon. They get an automatic 50 cents per gallon tax added on top of that January the 1st, so it's going to be 10 plus. So they could easily see $11+ per gallon in California, after January the 1st. So it's at a dangerous level, and this administration doesn't understand the working moms and the dads that are just making ends meet. They have to make a decision on whether to buy hamburger meat or roast for Sunday dinner versus half a tank of gas. Got a young man in my office that filled his tank up the other day up here in Washington, D.C. It was $300 to fill his tank up on his truck. So it's gotten way out of hand and very bizarre the way this administration is actually viewing our gas prices. I think they want to push everyone into an electric vehicle. Well, I'm not opposed to electric vehicles by no means, but you can't push people into that. And the market certainly has not developed to a point that we can depend on the electric vehicles yet. We'll get there, but we can't cut off our petroleum products while we're trying to get there.
Are there any programs for low-income families to help out with the rising gas prices and the rising grocery prices?
Not that I'm aware of. No, I don't. I think so much of that is self-inflicted by the Democrat Party. We could do some things up here as far as the government and make those prices come down. And then we can start with obviously the fuel prices. But if we have no positive reaction on the fuel prices, you can expect the prices on everything to go up. I mean, a loaf of bread I mean, you look at what's happening in Ukraine. Most people don't realize that 18% of the world is fed out of that region of the Ukraine. So you can look for a loaf of bread's prices to go up a little bit here, but worldwide it's going to affect it tremendously, tremendously. So that's the reason we've got to bring that war to an end. One way or the other, we have to bring it to an end, either peacefully or obviously supporting the Ukraine people, because it's all going to play a price, and it's all going to play a role in what that price of bread is going to cost here, on top of everything else.
Yeah, and I know Turkey and Russia are meeting today to kind of talk about ways to get the grain from Ukraine out and through to the world markets as well. Is there anything being done, any
So I was
in sight? I'm sorry?
I was going to say, I was in Turkey a little over a month ago, and we had that same discussion with the government there in Turkey. So we've all been working on issues behind the scenes, trying to figure out how to get that grain out of there. So it's there. We just got to get it out.
I know it's such a big part. Is there any relief in sight for this inflation issue that we've got going right now?
Again, we don't see any signs coming from the administration on wanting to end it. I almost get the feeling like the government, this administration wants everyone dependent on this administration, dependent on everything, and that's scary. I don't want to be dependent on the federal government. Leave us alone. Let us determine what the prices are in our own states. Let us run our own business. Less federal involvement. This is a great example of too much federal involvement, when they can dictate the prices of fuel, when they can dictate the prices of a loaf of bread.
All right, and let's touch on gun violence. Just this past week, we saw a couple shootings here in Mobile. 19 people ages 11 to 19 have been murdered by guns in Mobile. What do you think can be done about this?
Well, the gun issue is something that we're going to be addressing up here today. The Democrats are actually bringing one of the victims that was involved in that room, 11-year-old on the floor, which I think is absolutely horrible. I mean, you take an event like this and turn it into bring an 11-year-old on the floor. It's going to be tough, very tough. I personally, my family are teachers. My grandkids are in elementary school. My heart is so, I can't stand to watch what's going on in Texas, but we have to deal with it. The gun violence has got many elements to it, but the biggest thing is the shooters. What do the shooters have in common? Mental illness seems to be the one characteristic that sticks out to everyone, and also drug crime. When you're talking about the inner cities, and some of the shootings that we've been seeing, especially in Mobile, are drug related. So we've got a lot of issues to deal with. It's not just the guns. The guns do not shoot. The guns do not point themselves. So we've got to deal with what the real issues are, and the issues are mental illness. That certainly is one, and we've got to look at our school system. And our school systems, we've got to spend more money, federal, state, and local government, on hardening our schools and figuring out how to protect our children better. And we can't wait on the federal government to do this. And I know Mobile County, one of the last shootings, I was involved in a committee there. We actually reviewed the process that the school system goes through. Mobile County has done a lot to harden the school system, and we're proud of that. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to tell what the safety features are. You don't want to let the bad guys know, but there's plenty of people out there that are unstable. If not with a gun, they're going to use another weapon of some type. We got one kid that wanted to blow the school up. They caught out in California. The guy with a knife in the hospital the other day that stabbed some folks. I mean, a weapon is a weapon. So we've got to quit blaming the guns, and we've got to come together and come up with some long-term solutions, not short-term solutions.
And is there a push right now to better fund our mental health institutions or programs?
Well, right now, obviously being in the minority up here, we're having to, it's not being talked about on the Democrat side. All the Democrats are focused on is the Second Amendment. They want to destroy the Second Amendment and redo the Second Amendment, redefine it. And that is something that I personally have got no interest in going there. Second Amendment's there for a reason. But the mental illness side of it, we've got to address. We've got nothing from our Democrat friends in support of that.
And
I haven't seen anything. I'll leave it at that.
do you expect anything coming out of the discussion today among the House committee?
No, it's going to be all anti-guns. It's all anti-guns, anti-police. I mean, they're trying to paint the police as being the bad guys in this shooting in Texas, as horrible as that is. And when all the facts come in, you're going to find out the first policeman through that door's child was actually in that room in the shooting. The custodian that was trying to find the key to get that door open, you're going to find out his daughter was actually killed in that room. I mean, there's a lot of facts that the media is not talking about. All they want to talk about is a slow response and the lack of response from law enforcement there. That is totally wrong. It's being played up, and it's wrong. And the way the Democrat Party is using this as a point, I think is horrible, to take an event this horrific and make an issue out of it at this point, place, and time. If they really meant to try to do something to fix it, we would be sitting at the table trying to figure out long-term solutions. Don't react. Let's respond. Let's figure out how to harden our schools. Let's figure out how to better equip our teachers in some form, in some response, whether it be an alarm system or better camera systems in the school that are linked with our police department. I mean, there's so many options we have, but all the Democrat Party is focused on right now is the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment. They want to take these guns off the market, and everyone's focused on AK-47s. That's not true. Anything that holds over 5 bullets will be taken off the market according to, or made illegal, so that the majority of handguns and a lot of shotguns will fall under this same category. So it's not just AK-47s that they're talking about. It's probably 60% of the guns that's out there right now would be illegal to possess.
Yes, and one last question. I want to talk about the Port of Mobile really quickly.
Then they only.
I'm sorry?
Sure. I was going to say, and then at that point, the only people that's going to have those weapons are going to be the bad guys. They're going to find ways of getting them. Either they're going to steal them, they're going to trade them on the black market. They're going to find a way to have them, the bad guys. And we civilians have got a right to protect our home, our valuables, and our family and our property. And if we have to give those guns up and we give those rights up, we're at the mercy. It's just like California breaking in and robbing all the stores. They can't defend themselves there anymore. And you see what's happening in California.
All right, let's touch really briefly on the Port of Mobile. We're reporting record activity going on at the Port of Mobile. Do we see any more good news coming down the pike for our port?
We do. We're working on several contracts up here, that possibility of some military activity that we can't talk about right now. But the widening and the deepening that Richard Shelby worked so hard to get in the Port of Mobile, it will change the face of Mobile, and it's coming. You're going to see ships that are much wider, not necessarily deeper, but wider, coming into the port. We'll move more cargo in and out. We'll become more attractive to other countries for import-export purposes. Mobile, the widening and deepening of that port will change the face of Mobile as far as the port's concerned forever. That was some great vision by Senator Shelby.
And definitely good news for the city of Mobile. All right, thank you so much. I appreciate you joining us today, Congressman.
Yes. Thank you.